Haló, pani, ja si potrebujem upraviť hlasitosť. Lebo to je pekné, že diváci majú limiter, ale ja ho nemám. Kúkiš, nerob. Ho ma to hodí do hry. Dobre, grafika... Windows... Aha, okej. Ultra... No to je všetko ultra, keď mi to pôjde v pohode. Edith je 1999, ona je taká stará jak ja? Halo? Teda, taká mladá ako ja? Samozrejme. Oh, fucking Christ. Že toto je stále menu? Alebo to, že ja neviem, či to je menu alebo hra? Tak ako som zmetený. Dobre som. Ja sa za celú dobu covidu měl jen jednu rýmu a kašel, ale to bylo v době, kdy se rýma kašel automaticky brali jako příznaky, dostal jsem karanténu. A nikdo, s kým jsem byl ve styku, nic neměl, takže na to mám svůj názor. Že jsem odmítl rovnou a mám klid. Co se týká liečeného zmena, dostal jsem mastičku, v létě jsem měl zrno na druhém oku a mastička zobrala. Keď jsem to chytil v zárodku, naštěstí. Moji modi majú zakázané meniť hru.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning with the house.
Okay. To máš tam dovolenku. Ja to zmením za chvíľku. Tu som tu. Takže zabudol som, ďakujem za pripomenutie, ale...
I put up a chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it.
Niekde sekátu? Sekátu, dobre. To je ultra grafika? Je to staré? What remains? Dobre. Tu nikto nestreamuje, teraz budem prvý a jediný tam, wow. Tak ja som v podstate prvýkrát nemal žiadne príznaky. Ale tak 10 dní dovolenky a dostať za to viac peňazí, no neber to.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
OK. Čiže nebola v polovici bytov, teda v polovici miestnosti, aký tam bývala dosť dlho. A druhýkrát som mal asi 2 kašle, akože nikdy som to nemal vážne.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Bills from... OK. Aha. Som rozumel, že jak...
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Ajaj, zomrelý brat. Ty kokos, dobre.
In her will, my mother left me a key but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought...
Ja chcem niečo povedať a Čajka začne o mne niečo hovoriť. Ešte čo sa týka toho ječmeného zrna, tak to je dobré, že ti zabrala tá mastička. Lebo akože predstava skalpelu v blízkosti očného viečka mi vôbec nepríde príjemná. A ja som človek, ktorý nemá problém si pozrieť odseknuté časti tela, ale akože nikto sa nebude približovať k oku. Oči sú môj nemesis. Aha, jeleň. Je to dosť pekné kvetiny, tieto zvoncové. Ale chce si dať laserku? Ja som nad tým rozmýšľal, nie že si ju idem dať.
Even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
No ja mám proste ten pocit, že Okay. Ja mám pocit, že jak lebo v podstate laserová operácia očí máš nejakú minimálnu šancu, že ti poškodia nervy a do konca života budeš mať ukrutné bolesti proste v oku, ktoré nemôžeš nejak tlmiť. A ja som presne ten šťastlivec, ktorý by to dostal. Ktorý by mal tie negatívne efekty. Lebo proste sa poznám do piče. Presne viem, že ja by som bol ten, ktorý dostane to 0,0001%.
Was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
To čo je za dom, ty kokos? V tomto žila, hej? Preto má normálne väžu. Bro, akože normálne väžu si tam postavili. Ktorá, neviem jak vy, ale tie tyče mi neprídu extra stabilné, aby podopírali tie miestnosti, ja neviem ani či sú miestnosti.
The house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
As a child? Ja to mám stále, ja to takže halo. Tak to vypadá príšerne, normálne by som sa bál tam byť. Ale pri mojej váhe, však by som normálne prejebal sa cez spodok. What the fuck? Prvnou rúpli tie trámy. že v tom môžem zoomovať, dobre.
As a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Exactly. 17, čiže rok 2017? Alebo teda 2000, počkaj, môže byť 2017 alebo 2016.
I hope the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Samozrejme, že nie.
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Môj bože, tam je veľa knížok. Dobre. Môžem to zobrať? Nie? Nemôžem. Dúfam, že ten mute fungoval. Bože, začneme byť asi chorí kolegovi. Môžem pozrieť do košov? Nemôžem, bože. Ak pôjdeme cez tie psie dvierka, tak... Zba, tak ma jebne, ale ona to urobila skôr, jak som to stihol dopovedať. Dobre.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
Čiže nebude tu svetlo. Čiže budeme tu chodiť s baterkou. Jej. Alebo tu bude svetlo? Prosím, že tu bude svetlo. Ja nemám rád opustené domy. Akože ja viem, že to nemá byť hororovka. Ale aj z princípu nemám rád opustené domy. Naháňujem mi husinu. Keď rozmýšľam, či tam... nemôžem ísť vyššie alebo nižšie, dobre.
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
OK. 100 FPS, takže to asi nebude sekať.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Ale dal by som si nejakú čínu. Ale teraz, keď si idete objednať čínu v dnešnej dobe, tak koľko splatíte normálne, že 9 € za čínu. Haló, kde sú tie, keď to malo stať 4 €? Pretože zvyšok bol drahší.
Or how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
A to je celkom dobré. Že keď že doniesla domov hento, tu nejaká lososa. Pre mačička bola veľmi rada. Veľmi rada, akože halo.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Prečo akože? Prečo ste odišli? It's not creepy at all. Sure. Eddie. Čo to je vlastne Eddie? A to je kyslíkovú bombu.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Great Grandma to je. OK. Dajte mi iba sekundu, lebo neviem či nič dôležité mi nepípa. Ináč, Janka, dúfam, že si pozerala všetky tie TikToky, tie reelsky, čo som ti poposielal.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Oni boli hordery, alebo čo? Doslova tieto knižky by sa zmestili presne sem do poličky. Alebo aj sem, keby to proste posuniete a robíte miesto. Ale stále sú to hordery. Ne, nemusím ísť hento do pivnice, že nie.
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Tak to je dnesky to on postavil. Vytvoril. Barbara Finch. Čo tam je pri motoroch? Ďalšia zbierka hmyzu mi pripomína jednu tiktokerku, ktorá má autizmus. Strašne zlatá baba. A má tam tiež plnú stenu chrobákov. Bože, neviem, jak sa teraz volá. Ale má veľmi veľké čísla. Som tu.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Prečo by drilloval peepholes? Barbara
was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
OK. 1944, 1960. Zaujímavé. My friend Bigfoot Barbara Finch. Aha, tak to bola star.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
OK, tak nič. Ona bola doslova hviezda, že to iba nejak, že ju mali veľmi radi, alebo niečo také.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Toto je... Wow! Tak on mal tak popiči hento. Tapety. Proste, že pod vodou, to je úplne super.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
On nehovorí, že to bude pasovať. Haló? 20 000 mil pod vodou. Nerob.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Haló? Toto čo je? Kam som sa dostal?
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door.
Ale čo? Normálna izba.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Čiže striko, ich prastriko mal prístup do detskej izby malého dievčatka skrz tajnú chodbu, ktorá viedla do To není divné. To vôbec není divné.
Looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Oh, jellyfish. Oh, to je super. To je super. Pardon, bola som menšiť? Pohode. Tak aj tak nechcem, aby si menila hry. Upozorní na to, hej, ale nie meniť. To sa mi páči, že majú radi ten podmorský svet. To sa mi zamlúva tá rodina. Počkaj, to není dekorácia, ktorá je rozbitá. To není dekorácia, ktorá je rozbitá, že? To je rozrezená morská hviezda. Dobre. Dobre. Molly Finch.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Prečo môžem ísť k tomu škrečkovi? K tej klietke?
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Jak I didn't mind it? A kde je ten škrečok vôbec?
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Chvala Bohu. Chvala Bohu. Môj Bože. Toilet. Ideme sa napiť.
I kept eating and eating.
What the fuck? Zubné pasty nie sú jedle. Kido, oni nie sú jedle. Oni sú testované na to, aby boli bezpečné, že ich máš v ústach, ale nie, že ich máš v žalúdku. Haló? Nerob.
I ate a lot of things that night.
OK, ja už zase nebudem ničomu diviť. Jak budeš mať halucinácie, tak za mnou nechoď, hej?
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Ako som môžeš mať reťaz na hentom. Na okne.
And suddenly, I was a cat.
Jak I was a cat? Kokoda, že ja mám tripy do piče. A že ja som feťák, kokoda, u nás je zrazu mačka. Že, kam môžem vôbec ísť? Môžem skočiť, dobre.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Že kam?
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Toto je veľmi divná rodina. Okay.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared
anymore?
about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Jak suddenly I was an owl? What do you mean? Suddenly I was an owl.
Rabbits.
Ale lovím zvieratá, to sa mi páči.
I imagined his
Poď
face
zakusni ho.
looking up and seeing mine through my
OK,
talons.
OK, I like that.
I swallowed
Pekná
him up,
pasáž.
and I didn't chew one bit.
A sa ním,
Then
aby
I
nájde...
flew off to find something bigger.
Ja to, neviem, vtáky vôbec žujú? Nežujú, nie? Všetky iba z holcov.
A mama rabbit.
Stíhačka, ty kokos. Catch two rabbits with
She was
only
almost
2
too
swoops.
big to carry.
Počkaj, to sa dá
I started
failnúť?
choking, but I couldn't stop.
A ja som to nefailnul? Ja som proste dobrý? Ejo.
And suddenly, I was a shark.
Bro, Mne chcete povedať, že ja mám problém s drogami, hej?
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Počkaj. Ja som vedel, že to bude páčiť, ja som hlavne zmetený, ako ste sa vysmiekali inak. Dneska sa ma túto pán streamer ani opýtal, určite som sa to opýtal. Len si určite nedávala pozor. A bola som myšlienkami preč. Danka, aj ty používaš to škaredé slovo, že frajerka? Oh, počkej, hore dole. Okay.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Poď, kusni ho. Oh yeah. Rozdrť ho.
Flipper, and it tasted really good.
Ja vidím tvoju krvavú stopu. Drak sa blíži. Poď sem. Vieš, že mi neutečieš. Neutečieš. Poď k taťuldovi.
Grabbed on tight. But I was
Poď. Do krku.
jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
What the fuck? Halo? Toto čo som? Had? Ty? Ale niekde nemôžem ísť ďalej od tela. Môžem... Čo mám byť s tým chapadlom? Alebo teda som môjim telom. Možno to nejak... Ne, prejdem proste cez textúru, dobre. Okej, ja sa posúvam medzerníkom,
Now I
dobre.
was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Čiže len nejaká príšerka, dobre, dobre.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Aha. Pokračujem, dobre. Alebo že nie asi dole, ale hore.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Linda. Ja viem, že sa tu je achievement, keď ho nechám dospievať celú pesničku. Aký je tá pesnička, čo neviete? What you do is drink and sail. What you do is drink and sail. Daj mi achievement. Take him the longboat till he's sober. Dobre. Nie už dlho, no jasne, Danka. Ja som ten achievement. Ja viem, že tam je. Som si pozeral, aké sú achievementy. Som si ho zapamätal. Zvyšne neviem, ale tento jeden viem. Bože, nenávidím tieto nové špunty. Na fľašiach. A, mám to, let him finish. Ja viem, že to odtrhnúť, ale potom je, občas to býva také sharp. Úplne na piču, to je pod... Ježiška, ja mám ísť. Za kapitánom. Wow. Jo, takže mám ísť to. Nejak vonkom.
Passenger, I was still hungry. Across the water, I smelled something new, something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Ja stále nechápem, ale dobre. Cez hajzel ideme, aha, dobre. Dobre.
I got closer and closer.
Počuť, ale to je ona? Zužere samu seba, ne? Teda to nemôžem ísť. Alebo strýka si. Možno mamku.
My stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep, but it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Okay. That was weird as fuck.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Oh, did you want me you? Okay. Môžem sa pozrieť dole, dobre. Počkej, čo? Čiže niečo tu? O, to okno. Aha.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Oh, okay. Teď je to
When
si
Edie told people
postavené.
Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Dragon kills Finch. O, oni sú... Nori? Je to norská vlajka? Asi?
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Áno, Draxik, vidíš? Dobrý som.
I hadn't thought of
Lebo viem, že
myself
Fíni
as
majú
being
tuším
there for a
modro-bielu,
long time.
ale tam sú potom ešte tí tretí kokoti, ja to neviem ako majú. Molmin, Binit... Nemajú oni bielo-červenú a... Je akože tretí.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Molman, what? Krtko?
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Že ten brat zomrel týždeň potom, čo odišli.
Her room was like a museum.
Dobre, týmto asi začnem ten feťacký príbeh. Ďalší. Je to na Edith. Či keď mal 5 rokov tu robili. To keď je niekto príliš obses so svojou rodinou, ty kokos. Nemôžem nakúknúť, že? Takže ideme s Feťou. Ideme feťovať.
For 500 years,
Švedi
the
majú
Finches have been
modrožltú?
famous throughout Norway for their
Modrožltú
fortune
majú.
and
To tam žltá,
misfortune.
Danom mi ani nemusíš hovoriť, ich netuším. To oni sú divní. Čiže... Po 500 rokoch... Ale teda 500 rokov boli Finchovia známi v Norsku. For the fortune and misfortune, okej. Jo, mám klikať.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan.
Pekné mená. Odin, Ingeborg, Johan.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Všetci majú čo? Blank? Akože prázdny background? Nemajú všetci či? Všetci majú biele pozadie s farebným krížom? Nemá niekto z nich červenú vlajku? Čo to bolo?
But 40-foot waves off the coast of
Tak
Washington
jakže
send
hento
the
blank
house in Odin to the
background?
bottom of
V akom
the
slova
sea.
zmysle? Tak to není blank, to proste... Hej, chápem. Hej. Okay. What the cause of shit? Okay.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island.
Orcas Island.
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Jo. Že asi, ne, tak asi nie, že S-ko asi mám. Dobre.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Ingeborg. Odin, okej. Levicou tu chýba niečo. The Mysteries of Death and Thereafter. Joining Majority. On bol asi spisovateľ, okej. Preto je tu pokokot kníh. Preto je tu pokokot kníh.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Pípa mobil. To mi teraz to označujú, to. Čauka si, ako sa ďalej, keď sa máme, dobré ránko. Kožiša vyšpenkoval. Vieš čo, asi si mala pravdu, Nika, nespýtal som sa ťa to. Keď som to teraz uvedomil. Nespýtal som sa ťa to. Ty kokos, to je tak nechutné. Jesus fucking Christ. Si predstavte, koľko baktérií a hentoho humusov muselo špliechať a tá vlhkosť, jak sa usadzala v tom koberci a no to je jedno.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
To je humus. No tak si mi takový potvrdil to človeku. No však, to si mi už včera písal, že má covid. Idem chvíľu na poštu, vyzniť balík, že čo na obed, lebo už neviem čo variť. OK. Edith Junior Lake Trip 7 Photo Award Conspiracy Now with America OK. Mal som tam niečo robiť? Jo, toto. Je secret in the bathroom. O môj bože, ne. Ja sa už teraz bojím.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Okay. Calvin Finch.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Neobydal si sa, no. Lebo ty mi určite napíšeš, že no zlé, pretože som bola zase do noci dlho hore. A ja viem, prečo si bola dlho do noci hore. Takže vlastne už dopredu viem, že si sa nevyspala dobre. Draxik je vlastne veštec, preto sa nepýta. Tu v okolí sú tie ceny premrštené. Jak môžu byť na dedine premrštené ceny? Ja som myslel, že myslíš jedla. Ja nečítam o tom dome. Sorry. Ja som myslel, že sa bavíš stále o tom jedle. Hej. Ale budem tu, tak ako predčerom, keď sme hrali, čiže budem hrať ďalej odbiehať, okej. No potom sa nakazíš aj ty, nie? Keď už to máš potvrdené, že to je COVID. To už chcete stále riskovať? Lebo doteraz to bolo tak, že mohol si sa nakaziť prechladnutím, chrípkou. Alebo ja neviem, ty si mal aké príznaky predtým? Ja aj tak to myslíš, okej. Lebo mi sa zdá, že ty si bol jeden z tých, ktorí mali horšie, či? Čo som ešte neprečítal, blablabla. Ja som spomínal, jasné. Ešte zvažuj ten bungalow pri pri tom golfovom ihrisku, nerob. No, normálne, vyhoďte z hlavy prosím ten bungalow. Ten síce nebol až taký pekný, ale je tam veľa plácu na realizáciu. Dobre. To bolo jedle. Tak jedlo má relatívne normálnu cenu, I guess. Chcel by som jedlo, čo má normálnu cenu. OK. Ale viac sa mi... Nemôžem ísť ďalej? Lebo mne sa viac páči tá vesmírna hento časť. Toto je také... nacionalistické a je mi z toho celkom... nepríjemné. Toto sa mi viac páči. Toto je vesmírne, ja mám rád vesmír.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin,
Môžeme tam ísť jesť? Jesť? Chod do piče.
and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Tak 12 eur na osobu je podľa teba veľa, či áno? Je to veľa, no. Akože ja toľko normálne zjem, ale ja jem za dvoch, hej? Nie za jedného. Ale tak ak to máš...
How I want to remember
Neviem, čo
My
to všetko
Brother
máš?
by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Má zlomenú nohu, čávo. Vidím tú zlomenú nohu. Takže tak...
My brother said he
Ja mám
died
sa
before he ate
rozúpať.
another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always...
Kto má motion sickness, tak by to teraz nemal pozerať. Lebo ja nemám motion sickness a je to celkom
But
divné.
that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe
Ale
if
zase
he
nemám rád
hadn't said
kolotoče, takže to môže byť aj kvôli tomu. No čo, príde niekomu nevoľnosť tohto?
that, the wind hadn't picked up.
Čeť, priznajte sa.
And
Urobili
maybe
otočku?
he'd
Ešte nie, ešte raz.
But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Ježiš, čo už urobili?
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Pekne. Ja som mal prvý deň len sny. Aha, okej, tak to potom pohode. Ja som myslel, že si tepel celý čas.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Ja by som chcel vidieť iných ľudí prejsť presne túto pasáž, ktorí zažili motion sickness v hrách. Vysmiel by som ich.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
On tak zomrel? Idem som odbehnúť, idem teraz intuíciu bojovať, okej, maj sa zatiaľ. Po. Jo, do hora. Ježe k sebe mám dať. Čo je toto za barák, ty kokos? Jak to medvedo dynastii, než za... Jak to len host dostal achievementy, by the way, pekne.
They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Ani to ja neviem, pretože ten achievement už máš. A si to nevšimol? Ok, čiže môžem ísť von aj dnu. Ok. Lebo ja sa dalšie dávam sa no. Číš. To ale bude podľa mňa bug, to... To treba nahlásiť tento developerom. Jo, toto je tejto, čo má... Čo hrala v tom Bigfootovi. Inak super, že urobila jeden film a už ju považujú za hviezdu. Jeden fucking film, to z teba z hviezdu nerobí.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Jak hard? Čo mohlo byť na tom ťažké? Deathful stories.
People wrote about Barbara's death. I'm surprised Edith saved this one.
Počkaj. Ne, ja som si to pozrieť.
Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Oh.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay,
Well,
I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Wow, to ja ovládam vážne. A vážne nám táto hudba.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
O môj bože, prečo môžem udierať? Prečo môžem kurva udierať?
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear.
Môžem udať? Nie, môžem.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well,
Bye-bye.
I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you
Uvidíme
now
sa
is that
potom,
you're
teda
hurt
počujeme.
and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she
No akože musím sa celka si ozvať, že to piče halo, že som už vymenil zadanku.
hours later.
Ja viem, že nemám také cecky ako ona, ale halo.
What's going on up there?
Dá zotať pocať. A ja mám veľké.
Hey, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Zase toto, o môj bože. Sme dole cez košiteľu. Že to len tak padá niečo zo schodov? Nie to hororovka, že ne? Šťastí.
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside
Majsa.
radio was still on.
Orcas Island
Traja
police
mňa
discovered
zaradili
a
do
man is
klubu.
6 feet tall with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any
Tak teda je to
suspicious
skúši.
activity.
Ojoj.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
Poradne mu prieb. Ne, tak sa zavri, no.
He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Či mám ísť tam a prosím ho priebať zo zadu?
Hinges groaned.
Poď, sme k nemu kokotovi.
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Ja ak prídem dole a čavo tam nebude na tej zemi, dokrcam sa. Zvateľ detský čiast, dala som si neskrik, hej. Nice. Jasne, že tam zrazu není tam mŕtvola.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent.
What the fuck?
She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick. who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Wow. To bol pan. Okay.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Each? Počkaj, ne, to si nemyslím. Či? Ale aspoň vieme, že kde je kľúč k tomu jak sa to volá? K nie podzemiu, ale viete čo myslím. K chápete ma? A to fakt nič není? Dobre, tak ja sa idem hetero, no. Čakal, že bude. Pivnice, to som sa povedať.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Yeah.
It's funny. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
No. Prečo tu zase stmavlo zrazu, halo? Bože, nemám rád pivnice, viete o tom? Sven. Ja do neho dá s rukou. No, tu sú
Mom's in the
nakrenky.
basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Ten shot je nice. To ťa boli ešte potom niekoľko dní hento. Daná časť tela.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Okay.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Majú
If there's a
bunker
pattern
pod
in all these
zemou.
stories,
To nie je
I
že
think
také
it's
zlá
that
vec.
none of us has gotten very far.
Nevidel som pozad tou cestou. Walter? Čiže som sa tu zavrel. Alebo si modely vláčikov, to je nice. Tam sa dá ísť. Aha, toto malo akože mu pripomínať okna. Dobre. Myslím, že jeho list.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane.
No, rutina je
Having a
dosť dôležitá.
schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
To mal hento, broskyne? Nice.
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Štyri dní tam boli
And
škrtnuté.
then one day, everything just stopped.
Že po tých 30 rokoch.
Whatever that
2005.
thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
A to akože fakt
I'm
celý
done
čas idú
waiting.
na nejaký broskyne.
I have to leave while I still can.
Čo je tu dole? O môj bože, to pokračuje. Jiggly... čo? Jiggly Farms Grape Jelly. OK, hroznové
It's out
žele.
there
On
somewhere.
bit.
Whatever killed Barbara.
Ja sa ďalej nedivím, že nemal cukrovku, ty kokos. Za tie roky.
And Molly. And Calvin.
Ale čo?
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Mohla typka proste zraziť hento mašinka? Tak on vyleze ty kokos z bunkru a ho zrazí mašinka, no mne je na piču. Kámo, ty si taký chuj, nebudeme sklamať.
I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Máme sem.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Stále tu je to žele,
But
dobre.
if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Že tu tak mal akože odpadky dával, okej.
Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us
Neviem,
left,
kedy si odišla, takže ti neviem povedať, čo sa stalo.
thought it was time I heard the stories for myself.
No. Proste Walter bol v bunkri a keď po 30 rokoch chcel vyliesť
But now I'm worried the stories themselves.
a teda
might be the
vyliezol na
problem.
túto trať, tak ho zarazil vlak.
Maybe we
Vodka.
believed so much in a family curse.
So
We made
lucky
it
man.
real.
So lucky man. Rokov v bunkri a raz vylezeš.
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
Neviem, my dúfam do vody, že nie. Nepustí ma to, či? Jo, nepustí.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
A mohli by akože urobiť deň. Nie som
I think
fanúšik
people in these stories believed them. For
To mi v
what
hrách.
that's worth.
Tomu všeobecne, ale nie v hrách. Toto rozsvietí? Rozsvietí. Dobre, keď si takýto na mňa, tak dobre. Ja dúfam, že sa potom dá k tým príbehom vrátiť, keď budem robiť achievementy. Čo sem? Čo mi zase zadiel? I ono sa to nerozsvecuje, ono sa to iba temporary, to je na ten temporary na jak sa to povie, motion sensor. Som myslel, že sa to rozsvecuje tam, kam mám ísť. A ne, lebo som sa. Som na motion sensor.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Jo, to je dosť zvláštne, no. Nebudeme si klamať. Ale je veľa rodín, ktoré sú ako keby z úvodzovkami prekliaté, že často tam ľudia
Embarrassing for
zomierajú.
me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Že to je Durpy, Junior, Durpy, Burpy, Chirpy, Furpy, Lurpy a Zorpy. Aha, dobre. Lucy, Daisy, Charlie, Tucker, Coco, Zoe, Christopher, Bob, Shadow. Shadow, to je moja postava v D&Dčku. Oliver, Šaci. Už hobo? Bailey.
Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
Ale akože úplne fakt pekný cintorín. Kde každý má to svoje. To je veľmi pekný cintorín.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
To tam v diaľky.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
To je ten, čo bol zničený. Vedel, že tak blízko sú pri ňom. To je všetko? To sa mám celú cestu vrátiť? Tak díky, kamarát. Tak díky.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand.
Jo, idem inou... to pokračuje takto dokola. Dobre.
But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just
Hento je krajšie,
trying to
toto
do
už je také
better.
basic.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Levis. To mi koruna. Vypadá tak... teda vypadá tak koruna. Určite koruna. Ale tu je samý Finch. Že sú aj tu iba Finchovci. Hej, a tu je zrazu Kumar. Tu je zrazu nejaký Int. Že Sanjay Kumar. Koko zrazu proste Inda vyťahol z nejakej piči sveta. Nechápem. Samý Finch a zrazu
There's so
Kumar.
many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Čiže není tu niekde? Nie, tu nevidím priezviska, tu vidím iba mena. Ale počkaj, však aj meno tam bolo. Nie, to je Kumar. Co? Sanjay Kumar.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
I never would have came when I was too... Čo? Ale je tehotná? O môj bože, prečo robíš chybu vo svojom živote tak skoro? Čo, ja máš rovnako rokov, čo ja do piče? Nerob. Jo, prečo to je rebík? Povedem na začiatku, že má brúško. Tak ale môže byť tučná.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but
Alebo
I think
nafúknutá.
he and my mom had a lot in common.
Vieš, koľko žien vypadá, že sú tehotné, pretože sú nafúknuté? Či už kvôli zlému traviacemu systému, alebo kvôli krámam, ktoré stále súvisia s traviacím systémom.
They were both pretty intense.
Poznám veľa žien, ktoré sú nafúknuté tak, že vypadajú tehotné. Ja som nič neasumioval.
Instead of hiding from death,
Nie, že by som
Sam
si to vôbec
seemed to go out
nevšimol.
of his way to meet it.
Bože, ale tehotná. Ježiši, ja tak nemám rád vypchávanie zvierat. Keď si predstavím, že toto by sa mal mať na políčke, zle mi je. Neviem. Neviem, či by som to zvládol psychicky. Nechať si vycpať zviera. Tak asi ideme.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but
Počkaj, ten
Mom
list?
said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Bože. Selfie. Redneck selfie.
Dawn, I promise. you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Dobre.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly imperfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's this. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Okay. Či toto nie ono. Či teraz mám prichádzať na to, čo budem fotiť. Super.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Či? Mal som do toho fotiť? Nemal. Je tam niekto? Vždycky to boli nejaké fotky nejakého človeka. Niečo v diaľke? Môžem takúto urobiť. A? Teba som si nevšimol, vtáku môj. Myslím, že ťa mám odfotiť.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Kámo, čo mám odfotiť? A?
Nothing quietly being. Hey!
That's a keeper.
Dobre.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn.
A fakt som mal toho jelenia.
Let me get a picture of you.
Dad,
Let me get behind you.
do I have to do this?
Yes.
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. Great shot, Dawn.
Nice.
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
On si iba setil kameru.
Sorry, Dawn, just gotta reset the timer.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about.
Dad!
Oh, to je parádna fotečka. Akože zabiť jelenia jednou ranou je veľmi náročné. Alebo musíte ho prestreliť buď hlavu alebo srdce. Ak netrafíte jedno z toho, tak je veľká šanca, že bude pokračovať. Nemusí že dlho, ale bude pokračovať nejakú čas. Jo. Prečo sa strieľať do srdca? Aby netrpeli. Aby vás nehodili zo skaly, to je akože druhá vec.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Gregory. Gregory Downgas. What the fuck? Ja mal iba 1 rok, keď zomrel, okej. Divorce contract, jasné. Carlyle? What the fuck, to čo je za meno? Sam Finch.
Okay. Do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like Something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he
Nemôžeme
saw
si jej
things
pipiť,
the
škoda.
rest of us don't.
Teda čo? Okej. Ak vypustia vodu a mne to vtucne, lebo sa utopím, tak to bude let.
Hold on, sweetie.
Typoval by som, že sa môže utopiť.
I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
Kačičky. Sú minihry tam. Okay.
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
Čo mám byť s tou kačičkou? Teda kačičkou.
Whatever it was he saw. Sure made him happy.
Prečo si myslím, že skočím na to, čo dáva vodu? Dobre, nemôžem skočiť hento na, akože na uzáver.
How silly it sounds.
Či?
I'm worried about a baby being too happy.
OK. Vypustím ma to tam.
Slipping away.
Zatiaľ.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could.
Tak zomrel inak? Alebo on zomrel, keď mal 1 rok, ale neviem ako.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
Je to ono. Utopí sa.
There's so much I don't understand. About everything. I know what happened. It wasn't your fault. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Yep. Nixon zomrel na utopenie. Ale je tam ten Finch, tam vľavo. Aha, okej. To zvedavý.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet... A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
A do tohto jebne blesk, ne? Zahrá sa na toho s tým Šarkanom.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Ja ich mám teraz len to obrátiť.
I tried
To
to
sú
talk him
minihry.
out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
Sa nedivím, že má ocenenia. Tá hra. Tu nikde iný text? Tu je niečo. Á, text. Poď sem.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Že middle finger, ty odvážny chlapec.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Ne, on fakt udre blesk, ty kokos, do toho šarkana. On začal pršať. Chat, ja som jasnovidec. Počo, že zomre na to, že do toho jebne blesk. Nemám ísť hore? Nemám ísť hore. A, tu je text. Alebo ho zoberie tornádo, že by? Sí, tu bol iný. Iný letík, počkej. No, tak to bude možno iný letík ešte. Okej. Rozumiem posledné veci, stolička. Ja som rátal s tým bleskom, to by bolo zaujímavejšie.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Čiže ho zabil objekt, ktorý do neho najbal veľkou rýchlosťou? Zaujímavé.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Okay. Lozecká stena. Tu je asi pokračovanie.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Že môžem si zopakovať nejaký
At the
tento?
time, it was as far away as she could get.
Či to si už nemôžem zopakovať? Môžem, ja neviem, že keď na to kliknem. Ja sa nedokážem k ním vrácať, alebo to až na konci sa budem môcť vrácať k ním? To ma zaujímalo. Že či Achievement Hunt budem musieť robiť akože úplne od znova? Alebo či sa môžem vrátiť k nejakému z nich.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
India. Aha, tak fakt, on je India, Sanjay. A to je to dokonca, či to je jej foter?
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
A teda jej matka je tá, ktorá zabila toho, no nezabila jelenia.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Inak ona tam má vôbec niekoho iného, kto prežil? Nie. Mint, tymián, sage, neviem čo je, a bazil. Ježiš, to, viem to po anglicky, že čo to je, ale neviem to po slovensky. Bazalka? Tuším bazalka, že? O, to je pekné.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
A-D-E-H-E. Okay.
But it didn't last.
Edith lives Milton. Že naučil iba ich? Kingdom, Phylum, Class, Order, Family, Genus? Species, Variety. Plant, Animal, Fungus, Protoss, Mineral. Classification of Living Things. OK. Zaujímavé.
The beginning of the end was
A už ideme do
Milton's
veže.
birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Ale Milton tam nemá
Disappeared.
umrtie
The only
napríklad.
thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Počkej, tu nemá. A tu má. 2003. Čiže oni Čiže v podstate zomrel potom čo odišli, jo. Keď to nedorobili. Zaujímavé. Architektúra. Divné malovanie. Obraz.
Milton Finch in
The Magic
The
Paintbrush,
Magic
okay.
Paintbrush.
I on sa snažil robiť dvere. To my urobíme, musíme fixnúť tie jeho... Čo tam má
I was
nakreslené.
4 when Milton disappeared.
Že môžeme ísť dole? Jo.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
To sú tie dvere. Či nemám ich opraviť? Možno, či ich nemám opraviť.
Calvin had found in the house. Mom didn't want it getting out.
O, a som ísť hore. Idem tak tu. No, som znova nevšimol tie schody. Keď som vyšiel.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room.
Kokos.
Except Lewis.
Legalizuj marihuanu. Pekne. To je poster. Tu sa dá ísť dovnútra. A čo je na druhej strane? Jo, tu sa... Tu sa neskôršie, možno tam sa nedá. Takže tady o tom mám ísť, dobre. Aj šišu tam má, nice.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Ale som nechcel výsť. Zajíba o to, či náhodou tam nemôžem... Nie. Ty piča! Nemáš sa tam človek otočiť? No idem ďalej a teraz... Dobre, ničo nie. No čo, bol feťak, pohoda. Taká hra. Kámo, on má... What the fuck? On má 18 programovateľných tlačítok na klávesnici. Tak tebe to bol Vovkár. On určite hral Vovko. Tam mal proste expelia makra. Draxujem.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Nie, potom zomreli v realite, jej. This is a psychology.
Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery.
Okay.
He withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior.
Kamen na ľudí.
His mind began to wander.
Oh.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
Come on.
He'd feel his way about.
Ja no aj multitaskujem, halo.
Then something moved. Bats.
Lebo tá ruka to nerobí automaticky, to ja robím, čet, hej? Že si poprosím potom pochvalu.
And things that have not names.
Ísť ďalej? Á, hej, môžem.
He knew it was all in his head.
Wow.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
A už je z toho nová to iná hra.
Daydreaming at the cannery.
Pohľad z hora.
I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
No.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Okay, Zoro.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
And
he no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination.
Čo stalo jemu sa?
So he could do whatever he wished.
Si nechal odseknúť hlavu?
He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering.
Pekne.
It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
Kámo, ty mám tak originálne mená.
He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis.
Wow.
Until one day he forgot to go home
Minneapolis.
from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
To bolo, ja riadne vo svojom svete. Čau.
Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
Radiant Rainbow. Sinister Serpent.
sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her
Oh, harpa.
silver harp.
Okay.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. was all in his imagination.
Snažím s tými rybičkami.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Co za bohom?
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
OK. Zajímavé, a proč je to všade krv? Ja netrpí obrázok pekne.
Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Dobre depresívne miesto. Musím strašne smrdeť, ty kokos. Tá predstava proste tej rybaciny tam.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Lol.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
No poďme.
Waited, holding his crown.
Môže je pekná tá... Prečo vidím tú veľkú ric?
There was only one thing left to do.
Ne, ja nechcú... Oh shit. Preto mal korunu na hrobe.
I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Čiže si odsekol hlavu, no?
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Ja otočí. Nie, to je to. Myslím, že potom som sa vrátil.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Okej. Takže na interakcie, toto už bude asi jej mamky. Čas
My mom
baráku.
ended up leaving everything
To je dom.
behind.
Sanchez.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
A tu už je vyššie jej izba.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Okay.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Okej. Ideme si pozrieť darček.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
Čo sa bude to prekliatia?
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
History of the Finches.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Točí rovno. Jak loznavie, proste choď rovno. Easy. Keby sa teraz otočím do strany, tak by som sa stratil.
Turned around.
Ale ja som sa netočil, takže by som sa nemal byť stratený, halo.
For a while, I wondered. I started seeing things.
Jeleń je celkom bežný, tak ja neviem, či zrovna v oceáne, ktorý, kde není oceán zrazu.
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Okay.
things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Okay.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
No, čo?
My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while. And then she didn't.
OCT, to je, nie to, že onkologické, onkologic treatment, alebo niečo také? OCT? Mala raka?
The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes.
Tak OCT je nejaký optical coherence tomography.
How strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it.
Čo som vo vagíne, musím
I
narodiť?
just want to meet you. And tell you
Lebo
all
ten
these
pohyb je
stories
ako keď
myself.
žena push zatlačí.
If you're reading this now,
Vidím svetlo na konci tunelu, všade je rúžové, no neviem. Musím narodiť? Kámo, nehovorím, že práve vyležím z vagíny.
this is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask.
Že to bol to jej decko.
I want you to be amazed.
Že to práve hral za decko, ktoré vylieza z vagíny.
Good luck.
O môj bože. Šli dala, ale dobre. Windows, Creative Editor. Že vedie tam ďalšie achievement, že mám vidieť nejaké Jonathanové meno. Na tom v kreditoch, takže to bude asi nejak na konci. Že ich nemám skipovať. Niekedy neviem, kto je kurva Jonathan. Tukos. Ja som zmetený z tých animátorov, dizajnerov a tak ďakujem tých pracovníkov. Že majú detské fotky. A to je Jonathan. Nie, to je Johan. Nie, to je Johan. Johan Lee, yes. Bodaj Johan zomrel počas stvorenia tej hry. A preto dali ako achievement. Hry sa robia už tak dlho, alebo tak dlho sa pracuje na nejakej väčšej hre. Neviem som konkrétne toto, akože napríklad teraz jak Baldur's Gate vyhralo GOTY, tak chceli proste poďakovať svojim zamestnancom, ktorí zomreli počas tvorenia hry a nemohli. Pretože Game Awards ich poslal do piče z stageu, lebo naťahovali čas. Chceli iba poďakovať ľuďom, ktorí zomreli pri tvorení hry. Teda, ktorí tvorili hru a medzi časom zomreli. To majú, tuším, na to minútu, no. Tieto kokoti na trhu. Každý tam má minútu, sa mi zdá. Ja som si najprv myslel, že Neil, keď si prišiel pre to ocenenie, že tak sa ponáhla, že on musí potom rýchlo odísť niekam preč. A keď som zistil, že oni tam mali minútu na speech, tak to poznám, že čo ti jebe. Tak ten Černoch, čo tam robil tú komédiu, ten to tam natiahol neviem jak dlho, pretože sa tam bavil s Davom, čo už ani moc extra vtipné nebolo. Ale tí, čo vyhrali, tak tí nemohli mať hento. Nemohli mať dlhší speech. Nebavím sa teraz, že kto bol ten Černoch, ale tuším, to bol nejaký herec. Bol cringe. Na moment.